Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking about a film you might have heard of, Jurassic Park, which is a film that as a kid I loved it. Hadn't seen it in a little while, and I had never seen it on the big screen, so they re-released it for like the 30th anniversary. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to see that because there was nothing good to watch that weekend. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to watch Jurassic Park on the big screen for the first time. It's going to be lit. And it was. It was really, really cool. Now, this was a film that, when it came out, it kind of blew everyone away, right? Just the special effects were just mind-blowing. And they hold up. Those effects hold up. Particularly the practical effects. The practical effects are ridiculous in this film. They are so good. Some of the effects in the film, yeah, they look a little bit dated. Like the first time you see the big dinosaurs, okay, you can tell. I mean, it's CG. There's a couple of shots here and there. But for the most part, like anything to do with the raptors and the T-Rex looks incredible. Incredible looking film. And I rewatched the film a few years ago. I think it might have been like at least 5 years ago. And I remember thinking it was a lot different than I pictured it as a kid. Because when I watched it as a kid, it was an adult film. Like, it was scary as hell. And because you identify with the little kids in the movie, right? It was a horror movie. Like, I saw it as a horror movie, and it kind of freaked me out here and there, that movie. Rewatching it as an adult, I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot more kind of childish in the humor, that I remembered. But rewatching it now, I think it's actually, this is a scary movie. This is a scary movie. And it's not as childish as I thought. I think I was just like, I had forgotten the whole kind of theme park vibe of it, which is a huge part of this movie when I first rewatched it as an adult. But now, there's a lot of sinister stuff going on underneath, this whole thing, which is why it completely fails. I really enjoyed kind of trying to think more, because when you go see a film on the big screen for the first time that you've seen many times before, this is your big chance to try and analyze the film further, because you know what's going to happen, right? There's no big twists that you're going to be, oh my God, didn't know that was going to happen. You're going to be, this is your chance to look deeper into the themes of the film, and I did that, and I found the film to be actually fascinating. So fascinating that I'm planning a big video about the film at some point, but I'm gonna have to write it, etc. So yeah, so that might take a little while. So in the meantime, you're getting this video, which is just me talking very generally about the film. The cool thing about this film is that Spielberg made this film, after Jaws, and Jaws, well, like a while after Jaws. And Jaws is, that was his big hit, his first big hit, where like, he scared the shit out of everybody. And he was like, he made a big monster movie, essentially, is what Jaws is. And after that, you think, okay, so he did that, and then he moved on to other things. There's no way he can pull it off again, right? Surely, there's no way he can pull off another scary big monster movie like Jaws. And he totally pulled it off with this film. Like, he proved everyone wrong. He's like, no, I can still do it. I can still freak you out in a completely fresh and original way. And, move cinema forward in a lot of ways. And, I think, this movie has gone up, even in my esteem of, like, Spielberg movies. I've got, Spielberg for me is, he's one of the most interesting directors because there's no one else like him. Like, he makes these amazing movies in a way that I would never even think to direct a film like this. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to direct a movie, it wouldn't, there's some directors I can kind of see where they're coming from. And I'm like, when they select certain shots and, I'm like, okay, I see why you did that, etc. I would have probably thought of something similar, or like, I can definitely relate. But the way Spielberg directs a film is just very, very unique to me. And it's because he really draws from like the filmmakers of like like John Ford, old westerns and old war movies and stuff, which is not really where I'm coming from at all. So he's a very kind of 70s filmmaker, and he's making this like 90s dinosaur film, which is it just feels so fresh. It feels like how blockbusters, were directed after that. Like every blockbuster after that was just like, oh, we're doing Jurassic Park. You know, he really set the stage with this film. And every time they've tried to replicate what Spielberg did in this movie in terms of directing, is has not been the same, especially in the Jurassic World movies. Like the first Jurassic World film, you kind of like, okay, you're kind of trying to do Jurassic Park kind of shots, okay, kind of vibe. All right, it's not quite the same, but okay. And then the sequels were just like, no, not even close. But yeah, there's so many classic things about this film. The cast alone is incredible. Like Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Richard Attenborough, and then the kind of smaller parts, like Samuel L. Jackson is awesome. He's always got a cigarette in his mouth every single shot. Wayne Knight is freaking hilarious in this film as well. Like, let's be real. The story itself is really cool. Like, it's this kind of Island of Dr. Moreau scenario where this guy just has this, like, really kind of upbeat and fun idea for, like, a theme park. And then he invites people to just kind of get the go-ahead. But really, he's fucked up so hard. He got greedy, basically. He got greedy. And he just rushed it, basically. He could have potentially done something that was done the right way, but he just like pushed the envelope scientifically, and that's to be applauded. But he never thought if he should do it, and but it's more like the way he did it. That just like like his staff is literally just Wayne Knight and Samuel L. Jackson, and this one dude who's just like a hunter. I like the relationship that Sam Neill's character, Alan Grant, has with that hunter dude. Where like when they first meet, they have a lot to talk about. They have like an instant connection because they're kind of the same guy in a way. Like that guy is kind of like how Alan Grant sees himself. He knows everything about dinosaurs. He knows how to handle them. But as we find out in the film, maybe not every time. Clever girl. Laura Dern is great. She's kind of the heart of the movie with the two little kids as well, who are good child actors. I mean, it's hard to find a bad child actor in a Spielberg film. He just has... I think he can just see if an actor is going to work as a kid, Like, he probably, like, attends the auditions and he's just like, that kid's got it, that kid doesn't have it. Like, he's got a really good eye for child acting talent, and those kids are great, to this day. Like, really good performances. There's some standout scenes, like the raptors in the kitchen, of course. I love the irony of that whole scene taking place in the kitchen as well, just because it's feeding time. There's every shot is so purposeful. Every theme that's explored here is explored so well. And I love how the bad guys are not just bad guys. They've got layers to them. Richard Attenborough is not just like a like an evil dude. He's just kind of like, he meant well, but deep inside he knew he was doing something wrong, And Jurassic Park was never gonna work. But at the same time, you can see how it could have worked, because you're right there with these characters, with Jeff Goldblum and the others. You're on that little car with them, and you're going through the journey. The doors open to Jurassic Park, and you're like, this is going to be freaking awesome. This would have been the greatest theme park ever. Like, there's this one dude who goes, this is going to make trillions of dollars or something. There's one guy, as soon as he sees the dinosaur, he's just like, holy shit, we're going to make so much money. But at the same time, there's also these, like, really scary scenes, because the clever thing about this movie, you've got beautiful score by John Williams, of course. It's John Williams, and he kicks ass in this film. I don't know how else to say. But at the same time, he knows exactly when to not have a score. Like, when you first see the cars, when they're kind of stuck at night and it's raining, there's no score at that moment. And it is so chilling, because for that one moment you realize, oh my God, you put yourself in their shoes and you're like, it would be freaking terrifying to be there right now. Just like in the dark, it's cold probably, there's no sound, there's like dinosaurs around. you'd be shitting yourself. And in fact, there is a guy who does shit himself. You know, he gets killed in the toilet. Spoilers? I don't know. The fun of this movie is how there's like all these kind of shifts in tone. At some points, it's just beautiful, and you're wondering at the beauty of the place and these dinosaurs. And it's kind of kid-friendly as well. You've got these child characters. But at the same time, there's horrifying shit going on. There's like arms being like eaten, like ripped apart, people being ripped apart. There's like the first thing you see, and this is kind of like this really cute, like really well done kind of foreshadowing, like this little build up to the horror of Jurassic Park. You know, you've got this like goat, you know, and you're like, when is this goat gonna get eaten? And then, you know, slowly but surely you realize, oh, it's not just the goat that's going to get eaten. I think those characters that I have grown to love, they're in big, big trouble right now. And so you get invested right away. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like a tonal shift when something like that happens. Something brutal happens in the middle of this movie. You know, like it doesn't feel like a big tonal shift because it's so carefully plotted out, and it's so carefully timed, every scare and everything. I feel like in some ways it's even better, like the timing of this movie, of the scares and everything, is even better than in Jaws, you know? But here, like, I feel like this movie is like just pitch perfect in terms of, it's one of the greatest kind of horror action blockbusters ever, if not maybe the greatest. Honestly, it is so good. I can't even think honestly of anything bad about this film. I had a hell of a great time rewatching it and watching it on the big screen for the first time. The 3D doesn't really add too much, honestly, but it was just really cool to see this. I could go for hours and hours on this film. I just love it. Okay, this, like I said, I can't really think of anything I didn't like about it, or I can easily criticize. It's a 5-star film. I don't know what to tell you. But I could go a lot deeper into it, and I will. I'm going to be writing that video soon, hopefully. So look out for that. Suffice it to say, this is easily one of Steven Spielberg's greatest films, easily one of the greatest blockbusters ever made. It totally holds up. Like I said, couple CGI things here and there look like CGI, okay? But it's a little bit dated, fine. But it's still like a huge leap at the time, and it still looks pretty darn good. And the practical effects are ridiculously cool. Characters, brilliant. You know, like the cast is really likable and really good. Yeah, the story is perfectly told, and it's a scary film, but at the same time, it's a very uplifting and fun film. So it's got everything for everybody, this movie. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like, you know, lowest common denominator. This is a classy film in the way it's shot and the way it's put together. It's a masterpiece. I don't know what else to say. It's easily one of the greatest Spielberg films. Like, yeah, I think it might end up being like top 3 for me. I'm rewatching a lot of Spielberg films. I think the next one I'm going to watch again is E.T. because it's been a long time. I want to rewatch E.T. and Close Encounters. I watched the Sugarland Express for the first time recently, and it was pretty good. It definitely feels like a first film for him, which it is. Which is to say that it doesn't really kind of jump out at you, you know. But it's still very solid. But yeah, and I rewatched Hook as well. I did a review of that on this channel a little while ago, so you can check that out next if you want. It'll probably pop up here somewhere next to that mushroom. Thanks a lot for watching this very scattered review of Jurassic Park. I'll get deeper into the themes of Jurassic Park in another video, I promise. I will see you guys then. Take care.